I love it when a book crushes my soul and makes me sob because it makes me feel alive, like I'm exploring the full potential of what it means to be human. So do run over my heart. I will thank you for the experience. If you're like me, or if you simply want to read a sad book, take my recommendations. I will introduce you to 3 books that have left a mark on me. The list is not in a particular order, but I am saving the best for the last. First, Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. This book will leave you with this slow, creeping sense of dread. It's set in 1950s Paris, and we follow this American man named David who gets close to an Italian bartender named Giovanni and everything that unfolds from there. David obviously knows on some level what this new friendship means and what it says about him. Both David and Giovanni know. Hell, everyone knows, but so what, right? It's just that David is like, no, what are you talking about? While continuing to be in it. I imagine it being like you're sitting on the edge of a pool with your legs dangling in the water because you know you want to swim, but you keep telling yourself that you don't want to get soaked. So you just sit there halfway in water while everyone else around you genuinely does not care. That's the image that I have of David. We don't care, David. Literally, no one cares. But anyway, so this book is a quiet story in the sense that the sadness is not something that punctures you straight. It's like a small accumulation of heartbreak, and you keep finding yourself saying, don't do that. You know you don't want to do that. Please. And it's essentially a social commentary on the consequences of prejudice and repression. And I knew that going in. I knew the general story, but I didn't know it was going to flow the way it did. I basically sprinted through the last few chapters, and when it ended, I just had to sit in silence and stare at the ceiling. David. The second book, Recursion by Blake Crouch. So this one is science fiction. Why would sci-fi make you cry? So, we meet 2 people. We have a cop named Barry, and he's trying to talk a woman out of jumping out of this skyscraper window, but she says she can't take living anymore because she has suddenly woken up with a whole other life in her memory, what the book calls false memory syndrome. The thing is, she knows that the memory is real because she can feel it. She remembers the habit of her husband and how her husband makes her feel, and she remembers what her son likes. However, somehow she isn't actually married, even though her husband does exist and apparently maybe recognizes her. We end up losing her. We lost the woman. Barry couldn't save her. And then we meet a scientist named Helena. We meet a scientist named Helena. Helena is working on a way to preserve a memory, motivated by wanting to find some sort of a cure for Alzheimer's patients like her mother. The idea is that before all the memories are gone, they are preserved so the patient can live it again and does not lose them completely. Now, those two, Barry and Helena, are years apart. That's all I'll say. Underneath all the science fiction, it's about love, and therefore grief, regret, and also loss of identity. But because of the sci-fi premise, it's this constant back and forth between wonder and heartbreak. Me, one moment I'm genuinely thrilled and excited to be learning about this innovation, and then 50 pages in, I'm crying. And then I recover, and then I go another 50 pages and I'm crying again. This is a true story. It just happened 2 nights ago. With Giovanni's Room, dread looms over you like a gray cloud. With Recursion, it catches you off guard and it plays with you, kind of. The third book, let's talk about the third book. Have you ever come across the question, if your memory was wiped, what book would you be most excited to read again? Basically, what book do you wish you could read for the first time again? My answer to that question is this third book, Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. This book will crush your soul and you will love it. In this book, we meet Charlie Gordon. He is a man with an intellectual disability, and he undergoes an experimental procedure to increase his intelligence. And his intelligence does increase. The book is written in journal entries by Charlie himself throughout this scientific journey, so we hear from him even before the experiment. We see how he thinks, how he talks, how he is treated by others, and how he perceives that treatment. We hear from him throughout the experiment and we start to see the difference, and we continue to hear from him at the peak of this experiment. And what makes this book particularly soul-crushing is the fact that it is not only written from his perspective, but also in his writing. That might not make sense if you have not read the book. You might only understand it once you do. The story isn't just told through what he writes, it's told through how he writes it. And that's what makes the book go from good to brilliant. And I can't stress that enough, because the story alone is already good, but without that element, I do not think it would have hit the same way. I do not think that it would have become the classic that it is today. That element, the fact that it is written also through how he writes it, is what destroyed me. I remember being at the gym reading this book and actually having to stop mid-workout and sit down because I was in the middle of the last 50 pages or so. So those are my three sad books: Giovanni's Room, Recursion, and Flowers for Algernon. If you have not read them, I strongly encourage you to add them to your TBR. I think Recursion and Flowers for Algernon are very much summer books, so you can read them this summer. Giovanni's Room is more of a fall book. It's definitely a fall book. There you go, additions to your summer and fall TBR. If you have read them, I would love to know your thoughts. Which one got you the most? Or if any of them did get to you at all. Maybe they didn't. And if you have recommendations of your own, books that have destroyed you, do tell. Thank you for watching.